We're shaking people, back with another reaction, back with some more hardcore. And we're going back to the Gabberhead third vinyl release of recent years. This one just came out this year, 2023. And we're going to listen to a tune by Detachment 1. Don't know too much about this artist. I did look on both Discogs where their real name is listed as Rachel or maybe Raquel, as well as on SoundCloud where it seems to indicate they're from it's like I think like a district or a suburb of Turin. So I believe, northern Italy. So yeah, it sounds like they're an Italian producer, but I'm not sure, their full real name or anything else about them. So, but yeah, the name that's used here and on another track on the other Gabberhead record I recently got, which is the second one they've put out in recent years, the name they use is Detachment 1. So the track we're going to listen to is called, make sure I have this right, it is called Drop Like You, and it uses a sample from, I imagine like a pop song or something, but I think, pitched up to the point where perhaps, it sounds a bit different than the original. But yeah, it's a vocal section of whatever sample that really sounds on some level familiar, so I don't know if I've heard the original in some context and just, can't recall it. Nevertheless, beyond the cool vocal sample, which is part of this building atmosphere that happens a couple times during the track, it has an old school, like early 90s hardcore feel, and by that I mean not the style that we now call hardcore and gabber and so on, but really early 90s or even like late 80s hardcore, that sort of breakbeat style with the keyboard, old school keyboard, melodic riffs and so on. It has that flavor, some of which, I think people associate with house music, but it's, the breakbeat rhythms with those keyboard sections that makes me think of that genre that in the early 90s people were calling hardcore. So in any case, it has a bit of that flavor, but also a proper, mid 90s, early hardcore, like Gabber feel as well. So a really cool tune, and in particular, as I said, there's a couple builds that just really, you feel like your brain's gonna pop out of your skull at some point because the anticipation just gets so intense. So let's get it. This is on the, again, third Gabberhead record, which, I mentioned it before, it's a label that goes back to the 90s, and then the last decade or so they put out mainly digital tunes, but in the last 3 years they put out one record a year. So here we go. This is Detachment 1, Drop Like You. Hear that kick drum and bass. Melody feels like an avalanche. It's sort of out of control. some distant chord. Now who knows? Maybe it's a more recent sample, but that part of the vocal sample feels familiar for some reason. Storm cloud of a melody. I love Long live drum and bass rhythms in hardcore tracks. Oh, the way it just storms the life in there. Bum, 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 bum. Brilliant. Even the dog loves it. But seriously, I think that's a fantastic track. Again, like that early '90s hardcore, again with the break beats and the sort of a different sound than what we think of as '90s hardcore, which is to say, the Gabber sound, that the style that grew out of a faster style of hard house. Nevertheless, I do enjoy that early hardcore sound more than I used to, and in particular, I've heard it a few times recently, incorporated into an early hardcore track made, in recent times, but in the style of the mid to later '90s, but again with some of those keyboard riffs that I associate more with the early '90s. So a really cool track. The track on the other Gabberhead record that came out recently by Detachment 1 is also good. We'll come back for that one at some point. But yeah, let me know what you think of these tunes, and this one in particular. And Luca, the sleeping kitty, who I just startled by trying to move off of my lap. We'll see you next time. Peace.